Harry and his wife are having hard financial times, so they decide that she'll become a hooker. She's not quite sure what to do, so Harry says, "Stand in front of that bar and pick up a guy. Tell him that you charge $100. If you got a question, I'll be parked around the corner." She's standing there for 5 minutes when a guy pulls up and asks, "How much?" She says, $100. He says, "All I got is 30. She says, "Hold on," and runs back to Harry and asks, "What can he get for 30? A hand job," Harry reply. She runs back and tells the guy all he gets for $30, a hand job. He agrees. She gets in the car. He unzips his pants and pops out this huge. She stares at it for a minute and then says, "I'll be right back." She runs back to Harry and asks, "Can you loan this guy $70? A girl realized that she had grown hair between her legs. She got worried and asked her mom about that hair. Her mom calmly said, "That part where the hair has grown is called monkey. Be proud that your monkey has grown hair." The girl smiled. At dinner, she told her sister, "My monkey has grown hair." Her sister smiled and said, "That's nothing. Mine is already eating bananas." Boy in the bath with his mum. Boy says, "What's that hairy thing, Mum?" Mum replies, "That is my sponge." "Oh yes," says the boy. "The babysitter's got one. I've seen her washing Dad's face with it." Naughty boy draws a penis on a blackboard. Lady teacher rubs it off. Next day, he draws a bigger one and writes, "Remember, the more you rub, the bigger it gets." Little Sally came home from school with a proud smile on her face. She told her mum, "Frankie Brown showed me his willy today." Before Mum could raise a concern, Sally said, "It reminded me of a peanut." With a secret smile, Mum asked, "Was it really small?" Sally replied, "No, really salty." A male patient just recovered successfully from a sex-threatening health attack. He was wearing an oxygen mask over his mouth and nose and laying on hospital bed. A young nurse came to cleanse his body with a sponge. The patient mumbled, "Are my testicles black?" Nurse replied, "I don't know, sir. I am just setting you clean." The patient repeated again, "Are my testicles black?" Nurse was quite embarrassed to answer the question and said, "Sir, everything should be okay." The patient just kept on asking again and again, "Are my testicles black?" The nurse could not bear the patient's concern so much. So, she raised his gown, moved her hand to find and grab his penis and testicle. Moved it all around, checked very closely, and suddenly man ejaculated on nurse's hand. The man pulls off his oxygen mask, embarrassed at the fiasco, says loudly enough, "Ma'am, thanks, but I still need to know, are my test results back?" Steve and his buddies were hanging out and planning an upcoming fishing trip. Unfortunately, he had to tell them that he couldn't go this time because his wife wouldn't let him. After a lot of teasing and name-calling, Steve headed home frustrated. The following week, when Steve's buddies arrived at the lake to set up camp, they were shocked to see Steve. He was already sitting at the campground with a cold beer, swag rolled out, fishing rod in hand, and a campfire glowing. "How did you talk your missus into letting you go, Steve?" "I didn't have to," Steve replied. "Yesterday, when I left work, I went home and flumped down in my chair with a beer to drown my sorrows because I couldn't go fishing. Then the lady snuck up behind me and covered my eyes and said, 'Surprise.' When I peeled her hands back, she was standing there in a beautiful see-through negligee, and she said, 'Carry me into the bedroom, tie me to the bed, and you can do whatever you want.' So here I am." Teacher draws a penis on the blackboard. "Does anyone know what that is?" "Yes," says Tommy. "My dad has two. A small one for weeing and a big one for cleaning the babysitter's teeth." A man gets the words, "I love you" tattooed to his penis. He goes home and shows his wife. His wife says, "Don't try to put words into my mouth." Dad, "Hey son, if you keep masturbating, you're going to go blind." Son, "Dad, I'm over here." A married woman walks up to Santa Claus and tells him that all she wants for Christmas is for her husband to be interested in sex. Santa then proceeds to give her a bottle of pills. He tells her to give them a try and then let him know how it's working. So she takes the pills home and puts one pill in her husband's Christmas dinner. That night, they make love for 1 hour. The next day, she's running around thrilled and happy. "Oh my God, I can't believe how well that worked," she thinks to herself. That night, she puts 2 pills in his food, and that night they make love for 2 hours. The next day, she's even more thrilled, so she dumps all the pills in his food. 2 weeks go by without any word from this woman, so Santa decides to give her a call. A little boy answers the phone. Santa says, "Little boy, is your mother home?" "No, she's..." "Who's this?" the little boy asks. "I'm a friend of your mother's and I gave her some pills to help her out a couple of weeks ago." "Maybe you know how it's going?" "That was you?" the little boy says. "Let me tell you, Mom's dead. My ass hurts and Dad's in the attic going, 'Here kitty, kitty, kitty.'" Mommy, did you know that nurses can come apart?" "Well, no, what makes you say that?" "Because the other night, I overheard Daddy say that he screwed the ass off of a nurse." A beautiful, voluptuous woman went to a gynecologist. The doctor took one look at this woman, and all his professionalism went out the window. He immediately told her to undress. After she had disrobed, the doctor began to stroke her thigh. He asked her, "Do you know what I'm doing?" "Yes," she replied. "You're checking for any abrasions or dermatological abnormalities." "That is right," said the doctor. He then began to fondle her breasts. "Do you know what I'm doing now?" he asked. "Yes," the woman said. "You're checking for any lumps or breast cancer." "Correct," replied the shady doctor. Finally, he mounts his patient and started having sexual intercourse with her. He asked, "Do you know what I'm doing now?" "Yes," she said. "You're getting herpes, which is why I came here in the first place." The little old lady went to the bank one day carrying a bag of money. She insisted that she must speak with the president of the bank to open a savings account because it's a lot of money. After much hemming and hawing, the bank staff finally ushered her into the president's office. The bank president then asked her how much she would like to deposit. She replied, $165,000, and dumped the cash out of her bag onto his desk. The president was, of course, curious as to how she came by all this cash, so he asked her, "Ma'am, I'm surprised you're carrying so much cash around. Where did you get this money?" The old lady replied, "I make bets." The president then asked, "Bets? What kind of bets?" The old woman said, "Well, for example, I'll bet you $25,000 that your balls are square." "Ha!" laughed the president. "That's a stupid bet. You can never win that kind of bet," the old lady challenged. "So, would you like to take my bet?" "Sure," said the president. "I'll bet $25,000 that my balls are not square." The little old lady then said, "Okay, but since there is a lot of money involved, may I bring my lawyer with me tomorrow at 10 a.m. as a witness?" "Sure," replied the confident president. That night, the president got very nervous about the bet and spent a long time in front of a mirror checking his balls, turning from side to side again and again. He thoroughly checked them out until he was sure that there was absolutely no way his balls were square and that he would win the bet. The next morning at precisely 10 a.m., the little old lady appeared with her lawyer at the president's office. She introduced the lawyer to the president and repeated the bet. $25,000 says the president's balls are square. The president agreed with the bet again, and the old lady asked him to drop his pants so they could all see. The president complied. The little old lady peered closely at his balls and then asked if she could feel them. "Well, okay," said the president. $25,000 is a lot of money, so I guess you should be absolutely sure. Just then, he noticed that the lawyer was quietly banging his. The president asked the old lady, "What the hell's the matter with your lawyer?" She replied, "Nothing, except I bet him $100,000 that at 10 a.m. today, I'd have the bank president's balls in my hand." A big city doctor visits an Indian tribe full of men. He asks, "How do you guys relieve your sexual tension?" "Simple. Just come down to the river tomorrow and we'll show you." The next day, the doctor shows up and sees a group of men near a donkey. One man says, "Since you're our guest, you get to go first." The doctor, not wanting to go against custom, starts to kiss, then proceeds to have sex with the donkey. Then a man in the group asks, "Are you almost done, Doc? We need the donkey to cross the river in order to get to the tribe of women." A girl goes into the doctor's office for a checkup. As she takes off her blouse, the doctor notices a red H on her chest. "How did you get that mark on your chest?" asks the doctor. "Oh, my boyfriend went to Harvard and he's so proud of it, he never takes off his Harvard sweatshirt, even when we make love," she replies. A couple of days later, another girl came in for a checkup. As she takes off her blouse, he notices a blue Y on her chest. "How did you get that mark on your chest?" asks the doctor. "Oh, my boyfriend went to Yale and he's so proud of it that he never takes off his Yale sweatshirt, even when we make love," she replies. A couple of days later, another girl came in for a checkup. As she takes off her blouse, he notices a green M on her chest. "Do you have a boyfriend at Michigan?" asks the doctor. "No, but I have a girlfriend at Wisconsin. Why do you ask?"